for any good social development organization, passion works like a fuel.
Right.
And I think the way that we've operated all these years, there has been a sense of passion for change, a passion to make things better, and that's something which is really helped.
Tech Mahindra Foundation has been tirelessly working in the areas of education, employability and disability for 16 years now. With the vision of empowerment through education, we have impacted 3 lakhs beneficiaries across all our programs. In the 8th edition of Samvad, a newsletter dedicated to our external stakeholders, we are delighted to feature Chief Operating Officer of Tech Mahindra Foundation, Mr. Chetan Kapoor. Thank you, Chetan, for giving out your time. We are honored that you are with us today in reflecting the founding years of Tech Mahindra Foundation. So to begin with, to talk about reflection, I want to know what are the key factors that contributed to the success of TMF over the years and its emergence as a significant CSR in the country today.
Thank you very much, Prachi, for this opportunity. I think there have been several factors, but the ones that I would really want to highlight. Number one, I think there's been a great clarity in purpose as well as direction of the foundation almost since the time that we began. So it is to the credit of the founding fathers of Tech Mahindra Foundation that they fairly clearly articulated which are the core areas that we would be working in. And over the years, I think we've very studiously stuck to the knitting, which means that we haven't strayed, we've kind of focused on these, and that has really helped us emerge where we are, number one. Number two, so I mentioned about purpose. The second thing, which as I've always said, is that for any good social development organization, passion works like a fuel.
Right.
And I think the way that we've operated all these years, there has been a sense of passion for change, a passion to make things better, and that's something which is really helped. Third, there has been a very consistently, we've been placing quality over quantity. Now, not too many social development organizations of our size would purposefully do that, but we've, I think, done that. And while we may not have achieved lots in terms of numbers, but when it comes to ensuring that each and every beneficiary who we work with gets what he or she deserves, I think over there we've done fairly well. Then I would say that there's been almost a razor sharp focus on processes, and that's also something that over time we've worked on these processes, we've defined, refined, reworked, and that's something that has really helped us scale, because once you have the processes in place, it makes it so much easier for you to replicate, to do the same thing elsewhere,
right,
with a different set of people. So that has helped. And finally, I would say the fact that we've had some excellent collaborations. So a spirit of partnership, whether it is working with, for example, the East Delhi and the North Delhi municipal corporations, working with currently close to about 100 NGO partners who we've identified, supported, and all the way. So I think the spirit of collaboration is something which is sort of integral to the way that we work. And I think all of these factors that I just mentioned put together, I think have really helped us achieve whatever that we've had.
Amazing. Thank you, Chetan. So my key takeaways are processes, staying focused to the purpose, and also giving preference to quality over quantity. I think so thank you for answering first question. The second is, do you see a connection between what was envisioned in the tenets of laid down by the founding fathers to the areas in education, employability and disability that we are working today? And if you think can you also give us some examples how?
Yes, certainly. So when I look back, I think it's just been a fabulous evolution in terms of taking certain ideas which were implanted in the DNA of the foundation, and then bringing in interventions and programs which have led to each of these becoming better over the years. I'll take the example of employability. Now, when we started, Tech Mahindra Foundation was given a fairly broad mandate of empowerment through education. You are aware, right? Now, both the key terms in this three-word phrase, empowerment and education, we've had the liberty to define these in the way that we want. You know, empowerment could have meant so many different things, right? But we've chosen to focus on certain things which we feel are the most important. And similarly, the term education, we've taken the liberty to sort of include skill development, which, if you think about it, is like a continuum of education. And even there, you know, at a time when there was a lot of focus on getting more and more people skilled, we deliberately thought that, you know, it's not about skilling, it's about enhancing employability. And there's a difference between these two terms. You know, it's not just about getting somebody to train him or her to do certain things, but to be able to take a set of competencies which she can use consistently over many years, right? So that's what we try to bring in as far as the employability bit is concerned. And also the fact that we very consciously chose to start small. As you know, when we started the Smart Center program, in the first year we did barely about 700 students, if I remember correctly, and then from the 700 we went on to do about 5,000. Okay, so it's not like we said that we do, you know, 100,000 students a year. It's been gradual, and that's something which has really helped. And also at the right time taking right decisions. So the whole idea of smart academies. See, when we were doing very well with our centers, right? In 2015, if I remember correctly, we already had got an award from FICCI. You know, KPMG had given us a social return on investment of more than 13, which was exceptional. But still, you know, we could easily have said, okay, we've set up 50 smart centers, let's do 500 more, right? But then we said that no, that's not really setting a higher benchmark. Okay, what we really wanted to do was to set a very high benchmark when it comes to skill development in India. And that's where we thought of the academies, and which, you know, as all of us know, have really been the hallmark of the work that we've done in skill development in so many ways. So just the, you know, the vision with which we started, I think we've just carried it forward very well. Also, I must mention about the fact that we are working in the area of disability. Again, something which, you know, our founding fathers, you know, felt it important enough to be enshrined in our CSR policy. I think we are one of the very few CSR organizations which have very clearly said that at least 10% of all our beneficiaries are going to be persons with disabilities, right? And we've stuck to that. In fact, in the coming year, we'll be allocating almost 20% of our budget to persons with disabilities. And even there, the approach has been, while initially, you know, we were just working with some very good organizations, but as we've gone along, we've brought in a little more structure to the way that we approach this, and hopefully in the near future, we are going to emerge as not just a funding agency as far as disability is concerned, but as a solid resource organization.
Totally.
Yeah, so does that answer your question?
Totally, thank you, Chetan. And I think the gradual, you know, being confident about the work and then gradually expanding the scope of work in other areas, I think totally. Thank you. The third question we wanted to know from you, what have been some of the biggest challenges, especially in the last 3 years?
Well, if you think about the last 3 years, obviously what comes to your mind is the effect that the pandemic has had on us. The last 2 years especially have been, currently, I mean, completely swamped by the fact that we've had to deal with this. And Tech Mahindra Foundation has been, you know, no different in that. But as I've, you know, always told all of you that, look, it is in these kind of challenges where the opportunities would emerge. But just talking about the challenges, I think the biggest one has been the uncertainty which the pandemic has brought on us, and how that has made it difficult for us to plan. Okay, so both the times that we've we've been struck with the two big waves, the first one and the second one, has kind of coincided with with the financial year or the beginning of the financial year, and that obviously has put some of the best laid plans to and therefore that has been a challenge. I think the second related issue with this is the fact that um, we, the kind of people who we really would want to have sometimes because of the lockdowns, because of all of these logistical challenges that the pandemic has brought on us. We found it difficult at times to find the right people and once we found them, to be able to train them, orient them. That has clearly been one of the difficulties, I would say. But honestly, I don't see any of these challenges as being so unsurmountable that we can't. And now I think we're all looking forward to um, times, COVID-free times, and hopefully a better future.
Totally, Chetan, and actually it connects to the last section of our question also, that now that hopefully we are seeing a COVID-free era, how do you see the organization growing in the coming years?
Right. See, we've had in the last few months given a lot of thought to how the organization is going to evolve further. And if I were to put it in one phrase, it would be doing better of the same thing as we've done. So it may not be doing more of the same thing, but definitely doing better of the same thing. Because you see, the nature of the work that we do is such that there is always, I think, a room for improvement. There's always a way by which you can do something better, do something more. Just in terms of adding more depth to the work, and that's what we intend to do. Again, within this, I see the area of helping our youth cope in the post-pandemic world, and clearly we all understand that the pandemic is going to cast a long shadow in the socio-economic fabric of our country. Therefore, there is going to be a need to do more impactful, deeper work when it comes to supporting the youth. We are in the process of setting up our alumni clubs. We are in the process of setting up a resource center to be able to help other organizations, do more work. And especially, we hope to take our work in the area of persons with disabilities to a new level, because that's where all of us see a huge need for us to, work not just as an organization, but I would say as a sector, collectively, to improve the life of others.
Thank you, Chetan. Thanks a lot. And I wish the coming years are wonderful for Tech Mahindra Foundation, and the next 15 years, like the founding years, are even more enriching for the beneficiaries. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Prachi.